I want to talk about something that I see in the comment section of chronically ill and disabled creators here on TikTok. Now, I see this all the time, and it's people commenting, kind of invalidating the experience of a chronically ill or disabled creator based on their experience of that illness. Now, stick with me because this is going to be hard to explain, but I think it's really relevant and nobody's really talking about it. And it specifically happens for creators that have a disabling illness that also exists in an acute or episodic form. For example, chronic migraine, chronic UTI. That's two that I personally deal with, but I see this in a lot of other creators' comment section. So it might be that someone will comment, well, when I have migraine, I can't make content. I'm in bed with the lights off. I can't drive. I can't go to work. How are you making this content? It can't be that bad. And I think that nobody is discussing the difference between an illness when it turns from episodic or an acute attack versus becoming chronic and constant. So I'm going to do my best to explain this. So if you're someone that gets migraine episodically, you start here at a baseline, which is normal with no symptoms. Your episode starts and it shoots up and it feels 10 out of 10 bad, but then it returns back down to normal and you return to your baseline of 0 symptoms. It feels horrendous, but you return to baseline. The problem is when an illness becomes chronic or disabling, because it's chronic, is the patient starts at 0, the attack starts, and it never ever comes back down to 0. It never returns to baseline. So this causes a couple of things to happen. Not only is your brain and your nervous system becoming desensitized to this constant pain, you haven't got that comparison of it returning back to normal. So if your episode starts, becomes chronic, and you're sailing up here, maybe not a 10 out of 10, but maybe a 7 or 8 out of 10, after a while, because you haven't compared it to feeling normal, you do become desensitized to it. It doesn't feel as bad as, say, an acute attack that comes up and down again. I really hope this is making sense. It's hard to explain. So when you're chronic, you might go up and down like this within your episode. You might go 10 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 6 out of 10. You never ever return to 0 with no symptoms, but you might flare within that chronic episode, if you like. So it's really hard for people that deal with an illness episodically to then throw judgment on those that deal with it chronically and constantly, because it's completely different once it turns chronic. You know, when I used to have episodic migraine, I'd be in a dark room, lights off, couldn't do anything at all. Yet now people may look at me and assume, oh, your chronic disabling migraine isn't that bad because you're still living, you're still doing stuff. Another thing that people are forgetting is that when a chronically ill or disabled creator is making content, 9 times out of 10 they are highly, highly medicated. So right now, I have chronic vestibular migraine. It dictates my whole life, but I'm medicated to my eyeballs. So I've got injections in my leg, my belly, the back of my head, the back of my neck, my shoulders, 3 oral medications, and I've still got symptoms. But it brings my symptoms from 10 out of 10 bedbound, how people are describing in the comments, down to like 4 out of 10, at a point where I'm still symptomatic, but I can kind of function. And then I'll fluctuate throughout the day, each hour by hour. So I hope that makes sense. I see it all the time. It makes me feel really angry and kind of sad that people are like, wow, you can't be that bad, or how can you have it constantly? You absolutely can. Your brain desensitizes, your nervous system gets used to living like that. You can't wait for a good day because there are no good days. You have to get on with life. You're highly medicated. It brings the severity down, but you're still in the episode. You're still chronic. It's still constant. I hope this makes sense and might stop someone from passing judgment, because I would have been that person years ago. If I saw someone saying like me, they're disabled from chronic vestibular migraine, I'd be like, well, surely not. How are you making this video? That's how.